may or may not come into play. Who can say? The sweater that I said I wasn't buying yarn for, I bought yarn for within the first 15 minutes that I was at Flock. Hello, my name is Bonnie and this is my channel, A Knitter Obsessed. This is my knitting podcast where I'm talking about all of the knitting and yarn related things happening in my life. If you're new here, welcome, and if you've been here for a while, welcome back. Specifically, if you've seen my last episode, then you can probably guess that this episode is going to be all about Flock Fiber Festival. So I just went to Flock Fiber Festival in Seattle last weekend. It's been a few days since, so I've had some time to sort of decompress and unpack and, get organized since then. And I wanted to take a few minutes and just talk to you guys about my experience. Because it was a ton of fun. I have never been to a fiber festival before. This is my very first one. And I've never been to Seattle before. So it's about a 2-hour flight from me. It wasn't too bad. It was nice and easy. And honestly, I was mostly excited to go to Seattle to get some of their weather, because we've been in the triple digits for most of the summer, and Seattle was a lovely, high 70s and mostly sunny the entire weekend, and it was absolutely fabulous. So excited just to visit Seattle, but also very excited for Flock. So in my last episode, I talked about all of my plans for Flock, the patterns I was planning to buy yarn for, and what kinds of yarns I was kind of thinking about. And I thought it would be a little bit fun to see how my plans matched my reality, because it's not 100%. I can guarantee that. I did pretty good. I definitely stuck to my plans, but you'll see there were some wiggles along the way that were kind of funny and made me laugh. And so I wanted to go through that and show you guys what I got, talk about the experience a little bit, show a few clips. I'm not going to promise a lot because I am awful at remembering to take pictures or videos when I'm somewhere. I just kind of get caught up in the moment, and I am just not very good at documenting. So I have a few videos around Flock Fiber Festival that I'll be sort of peppering in as we go. But they're pretty few and far between. It was also very crowded, and I just felt a little awkward, accidentally getting other people in my videos. And so I am gonna have to kind of snip and edit around in them as it is, just to make sure I'm not, catching other people's faces in sort of an awkward way and whatnot. So yeah, I'll show you what I have. It was a ton of fun, and honestly, the fact that I was forgetting to document just shows how much fun I was having. There was so much yarn. There were over 100 vendors, and all of them had just fabulous yarns and accessories and, knitting notions and things to go and squish and admire. And on top of that, there were all the people. I saw people that I've seen, dyers that I've followed and podcasters that I've watched and all sorts of designers that I love. And on top of that, just lots of knitters and crocheters and fiber lovers, and I had such a fun time just being around all of the people. And honestly, I think my favorite part of the whole experience was while we were around Seattle all weekend, so not even at the festival, but other times, just walking around the city, I would see lots of people in handmade tops and garments. And I was able to one person walked by and I went, "Oh, they're wearing The Poet by Sari Nordlund," and my friend was like, "Oh my gosh, you can just pick out knitting patterns, that's awesome." Or I'd see people with the Flock tote bags or the shirts, or it was so much fun to just see the city just a little bit overrun by fiber people, which is the best kind of people in my opinion. A little biased, but it was so much fun. So without further ado, let me just review what I said in my last podcast very quickly. And so that way we have a starting point to know how well I did. So I've got some notes here. I rewatched my video so that I wouldn't lie. So what I said I was going to buy. I was going to buy one skein of very fun sock yarn for a pair of socks. I was 100% absolutely going to buy yarn for the Camelia cardigan by Minimi Knit Design and the Poet by Sari Nordlund. Those were definite. I was very set on them. I was thinking about several other patterns, which I'm not going to list all of them. I will list the relevant ones, which, a bit of a sneak peek about what I'm going to talk about. But I said I might consider buying yarn for the Lento by Jonah Helen, and that I really wish I could buy yarn for, but 100% definitely wasn't going to buy yarn for the Citrine jumper by Vert Knit. In fact, I very explicitly said, if we go back and watch the evidence, this one's like my, like I'm dreaming about it sweater. This is my, if I could have unlimited yarn, this sweater would also be on the list, but I am realistically not planning to buy yarn for this sweater, but that I was not going to buy the yarn may or may not come into play. Who can say? All right, so with that, I'll go into just our morning just a little bit. So me and my friend, Katie, we met in Seattle. So she lives in Vegas and I live in Northern California. And so honestly, this trip was a little bit of an excuse to meet up with Katie because we hadn't seen each other for a couple of years. And we met up the night before. Both of our flights got delayed, and we didn't end up getting back to our Airbnb until almost midnight. And we were both very, very tired. Honestly, it might have been closer to like 1 a.m, if I'm thinking right. I think my flight landed at 11:30. So yeah, it was late when we got back to the Airbnb. We were both exhausted. I get really sick on planes, so I had taken a Dramamine, so I was also like falling apart, like just falling asleep as we came into the Airbnb. So we crashed pretty hard, and we knew we weren't going to get the earliest of mornings because of that. So we woke up and we ended up getting out. We were about 20 minutes outside the city at our Airbnb, and we didn't get into the city until, about 11 or so, maybe 10:30, and we went and got some breakfast. And once we'd eaten, we walked over to the venue, and we didn't really get there until about 11:30. So we weren't, waiting in line, waiting for the doors to open or anything like that. And I figured it would be okay. I figured, the yarn would still be there and it would be fine. Coming in at 11:30, we still had to wear masks because the entire event was masked from 10 to 12 in order to allow, people who are more sensitive or, more susceptible to illnesses and stuff to be able to come to the event, which I thought was really, really cool. And so we've got our masks on and we were walking around, and it was just, there were so many people there. Like, I'm honestly pretty glad that we didn't get there earlier, just because I think it had probably calmed down a little bit by the time we were there, or at least spread out a little bit. Like, I've got to imagine the beginning was a pretty mad rush. But that being said, I will say it was crowded the whole time. There were a ton of people there. Everyone was very excited about the yarn. So, there's always someone kind of trying to get into where you were standing if you were ready to move. But it never felt overwhelming necessarily in like a claustrophobic or pushing and shoving kind of a way. Like, everybody was so nice and so respectful, and yeah, they're trying to get a look at the yarn. There's a little bit of shoving, but like, it's like the most polite pushing and shoving ever. And yeah, I was fine with it. It was very exciting. It was very manageable for the sheer number of people that were in that room. And it was also just very cool how many people were in that room, considering, we're all there for yarn. Like, it's so much fun that many people showed up and came out and were this excited. So we get in, we sort of are trying to get oriented, and the very first booth that we came across was Treehouse Knits, and I immediately wanted to buy like every single yarn that I saw. Like, they were so soft and so amazing, and the colorways were so good. And I was looking around, I was like, I want all of them. I want all of these yarns. And I was like, okay, literally the first booth you walked into, you need to walk away. Like, you need to do a lap and you need to come back. The yarn will still be here. You'll be fine. Like, go take a lap. And so we walked past that and we wandered down the first row of booths, and we turned to come back up the second row. And the next shop that I got absolutely sucked into was called U2 Knit. Or U2 Yarn. Yeah, U2 Yarn. I have a way to cheat on this. And they had this display, I have a picture of it, of they have 2 flock colors. So they were the colors special to the event, and they were copper and brass, and they had them in these big baskets on the entry table, and I just loved them. They were so pretty, and I was just sucked in. And honestly, all of their yarns were just so stunning. Like, I think I have a new favorite dyer. Like, my God, they were so beautiful. And I was doing good. I still wasn't ready to commit. I was gonna do another lap. And I looked up and I saw this guy. This was hanging in their display of DK weight yarn. This is their, what's it called? Mellow DK. It's 100% superwash merino. And this is in the Flock 24 color, copper. And I immediately bought 5 of these for the Citrine jumper. The sweater that I said I wasn't buying yarn for, I bought yarn for within the first 15 minutes that I was at Flock. Which I'm not regretting at all. I'm so excited about this. Is so stunning. But it was just really very, very funny to me. But yeah, this yarn is, I wish you could squish it. Like, it's just so soft and it's beautiful. The color's so saturated. It's this stunning, like, rusty orange color, and it just screams fall to me. And I just feel like that Citrine jumper is going to be unbelievably amazing in this color. Yeah, and I do feel like it looks quite nice on me. So yeah, so immediately bought this yarn, and it like also immediately filled up the tote bag that I brought to, you know, put all my yarn in, because it's very like fluffy, not fluffy, but it, you know, it's got some puffiness to the skeins. But yeah, that was my first purchase, and I was so happy. After that, we actually did do a good job. We did an entire lap of the event before I bought any more yarn after that. So I wanted to see all the yarn before I really committed to anything. And we did. We went and looked at every booth and did all of that. I did make one other purchase before we finished our lap, but that was one I'd been planning to make all along. And that was from Denim and Rain. So again, if you've been, oh, I just kicked the tripod. If the camera moved, I'm very sorry. If you've been watching some of my videos, you know that I've mentioned Denim and Rain a few times. I absolutely love her podcast. And so I knew she was going to be at Flock Fiber Festival, and she sells like buttons and stitch markers. Her sister was there with her and selling pottery. And a lot of the stuff she sells, she literally hand paints. And I mean, they're absolutely stunning. I am pretty blown away by the stuff she makes. But what I ended up getting are 4, oh, sorry, I'm dropping everything, of the resin buttons that she makes. And they're these really pretty, like black and clear with gold flakes in them. And I love these. I think they're so stunning. I have absolutely no idea what project these are for, but I will find something to put these buttons on. You know, I'll make a cardigan or something that suits these buttons eventually, I'm sure. So really, really excited for these. I thought they were really, really cute. And then I didn't get her hand painted stitch markers, but honestly, that's just because I found this guy so cute. So these are her little Flock stitch markers. She has the little black face sheep in it with the accent markers, and I just loved the colors. These made me so happy. So those were my 2 purchases from Denim and Rain, and I really wanted to come up and say hi to her because we have, you know, exchanged a few comments on my videos, and I was gonna come up and say hi and introduce myself and, like, you know, put a face to the name kind of a thing. And I totally chickened out. I'm so incredibly shy, and a decently anxious person on top of it, and I just really overthought it, and I made the purchases. I told her that I loved all of the stuff that she brought to Flock, and she was very, very busy. Her booth was full, and there was a line behind me waiting to buy from her, so I also didn't want to take up too much time, but I did leave it at that, and I kind of regret it. I feel like I should have said hi. So hi, Sarah. I apologize for being awkward, but I do absolutely love your stuff, and I'm so grateful that I got to make a few purchases from you, and I am going to absolutely cherish these, and they're going to be a very exciting addition to my knitting, you know, accessory collection. So thank you. But anyways, after we went and I made these purchases, we did tour the rest of the event. And at that point, I was starting to feel a little overwhelmed, and my friend was like, I think we're hungry. So we took a break, we left to the venue, and there was this dumpling place just across the street. We put our names in for a table there. It was absolutely hopping because of all the, people from Flock. So we had a good 45-minute wait, which was fine. I worked on some knitting outside. The weather was lovely. And we got our name called for our table, and I walk in and we're waiting for the hostess to come over and seat us. And I look over and Melissa from String Things by Mel is sitting right there. She was there with her friend Sarah, who is a knitwear designer, Noelle Knits. And they were talking, they're in the middle of a conversation, so I again felt a little shy. I didn't quite know how to handle myself. And I waited till there was a pause in their conversation, and I was like, Melissa, oh my gosh, I love your podcast. And I actually talked to her. I was very proud of myself. And she is so sweet. We didn't get seated for several minutes, and so we ended up having a really nice conversation with her and Sarah, and they both talked, we all complimented each other's knitwear that we were wearing, and it was really cool. She was very nice to talk to, and I'm really glad I said hi. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was so cool just, again, being able to meet these people that I watch, fairly regularly on my TV in my house. It's just a lot of fun. And, to all be a part of the same community and be going to the same event was really, really cool. I also had one person come up and say hi to me. I apologize if that was you. I was a bit awkward, and it was the first time it's ever happened for me. And I was, I think as you gathered, a bit shy. And so I was so grateful. That made my day. It made me feel so happy to, meet a viewer and to actually say hi and chat. She was the first one to know that I immediately had bought the yarn for my Citrine jumper after saying I wouldn't. So had a bit of a laugh about that story when we met. But honestly, it was so cool. And thank you so much for coming up and saying hi and finding me in the festival. That was really, really cool. And I really appreciated it. Anyway, so after lunch, we went back, and I had a better idea of which yarns I was looking for at that point. And so I ended up going back to Treehouse Knits. I literally knew from the first time we were in that booth that I would be back. And so we went back, and I made a couple of purchases. And I can't show you. I've actually already wound up some of this and swatched with it because I'm so excited about it. So the first one I bought is they had their fluffy yarn. And their fluffy yarn is the Truffa Cashmere. And it is 81% superwash merino wool and 19% cashmere. Oh, and I have one of my hairs stuck to it. Sorry. You have as much hair as me. It ends up everywhere all of the time. And this is the softest thing I have ever felt. It's unreal how good this yarn feels. I got this in the color I'm Not Broken, just a little chipped. Is this really pretty blue color. And my plan for this is to knit the Cognac sweater by Atelier Caston. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering this. I wrote the notes badly enough. My handwriting is so bad that I can't read them. It is not, I just should have taken a second and, written things down better. But yeah, the Cognac by Atelier Caston. And that is not the Lento, which is what I had talked about in my video. So again, changing my plans just a little bit. In my last video, someone had mentioned that there are quite a few patterns that have the same gauge as the Lento. And the Cognac was one of the ones they listed, and I looked it up and I went, oh my God, that's beautiful. Okay, so we switched to the Cognac, became our new plan instead of the Lento. And I knew that when I was in Flock. It's a little bit more my style and a little bit more the kind of fit that I like in my sweaters. But it's the same idea where it's nice and airy and it doesn't use a ton of yarn. And I decided that it would be the perfect pattern to just show off how absolutely incredible this yarn is. The other purchase that I made from them is this, which is in their Spruce Sock base. and it's called You Belong Here. And this is 90% extra fine superwash merino and 10% nylon. It has 437 yards per 100 grams, and it just has these absolutely beautiful speckles. There's some oranges in there, some dark browns, some greens. I just thought it was so pretty. And so I did have a crazy idea of possibly holding these together in the Cognac, but I knew when I bought it that there was a very, very, very good chance that these speckles would not show up if I did that and that it would not look good. And so I bought that knowing that that combination had a very good chance of not working out. And sure enough, it's why I wound it up, because I was very curious. I did make a swatch, and I do agree, I don't think it works. I think the speckles just make it look, you don't see them, and they just look like very weird polka dots. So I'm not gonna hold them together. So instead, I've already figured this out. This is still for the Cognac. I will eventually acquire some fingering yarn to go with it. I have some ideas already, but I'm also not, I have a lot of projects with yarn right now. So this is just gonna go on the, this won't be the next thing I cast on, which is fine. But this will be on hold for some fingering. But I did swatch with the Spruce Sock on its own, so you can see the speckles, which I love so much. And this, I'm probably casting this on tonight, is going to be the Tonight Top by Lily Kate France, who's also Lily Kate Makes, I believe, on Instagram. And I think that'll look so pretty. Like, I think this up by, my neck in like this really nice fitted sleeveless like sweater will just look really classy and really, really very nice. And also, this is like the softest yarn. This is the softest yarn ever. It's amazing. It's like the drape is just so good, and oh my gosh, it's just gonna be beautiful. I can't. And I will say my gauge on this is a little bit tighter than what the pattern calls for, and so it's gonna work out for me because it's gonna make the top just a little bit more form-fitting, and so it should just be this very well-fitted piece, and I think it will do the yarn great justice. So very excited about this. This was a great purchase. I honestly think for the fingering to go with the cashmere yarn, I kind of might wait till Treehouse Knits has, a pre-order for a color that I'm really excited about, because when I say this is incredibly soft, this swatch, as much as I don't like the color, it's unreal how good it feels. And I would be very interested in using this same base when I do the Cognac, but we'll see. Like I said, this one I'm just kind of on hold for until I see the right yarn. I'm not actively seeking it out necessarily. All right, and so then after we went and got that, then we went to another shop that I had already had pegged to come back to, and that was Plies and Hellhounds. I absolutely loved their colors, like so much. Like their aesthetic, like their colors that they go for, their whole vibe is very much one that I agree with. I loved all of them. I wanted to buy all of them. Like, amazing. This is another one I'm now going to be following on Instagram, and it might get me into some trouble because I love it so much. But I bought this for the Camelia cardigan. I had said in my video that I was trying to look for Surrey alpaca for the Camelia, and I really was looking for it, but just when I saw the color of this mohair, I absolutely fell in love with it. I had been planning to buy like a cream colored yarn for that cardigan to match what was in the project, the pattern pictures. And, a nice neutral colored cardigan, all that stuff. And I was looking around and I realized that for me and my style, a burgundy like this is much more of a neutral for me than a cream is. Like, I am much more likely to pick up this color than a cream. I also considered doing like a charcoal gray. They had a really pretty charcoal gray mohair as well. But in the end, this color was, I mean, I'm literally wearing it in, this video. And this is what I wore to flock, by the way. I'm going to do a little twirl at the end, but this is the same outfit I wore to flock. So, because I forgot to take any pictures of me, really. I'm terrible. But anyways, this is their Plies and Hellhounds Fig Lace in the color Yugen. It's 70% kid mohair and 30% silk. And you get 50 grams with Chaz 460 yards. So for the Camelia, I ended up buying 5 of these. And yeah, oh my god, it's gonna be so pretty. Like, so excited about this. I did have a conversation when I checked out and I asked them what the origin of their name is. And this is a little funny. So they explained that they used to be, that the hellhounds refers to their corgis because their corgis are little hellhounds. And I looked at them and go, yeah, but what's the origin of the plies? And he goes, oh, it's plies. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a dancer. I just read plies. And he's like, we get that a lot. So that was a little silly. It was fun. Yeah, plies and hellhounds. Makes more sense than plies and hellhounds. I thought it was a ballet themed yarn store. And then finally, my friend Katie, she wanted to get yarn to knit her very first sweater, which is really exciting. And so we ended up going to 29 Bridges Studios, and she picked out this incredible variegated brush suri alpaca. And as she was picking hers out, I looked over and I saw their sock yarns. So this is the go-to sock that they have. It's 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. And this is in the colorway patina. And I fell in love with this. I thought it was so beautiful. And it just feels really nice. And yeah, so this is just going to be a pair of vanilla socks. But I'm very excited about that. And I did say that I wanted to get that. So, and it was really cool. When I checked out from there, they gave me a complimentary tote bag, which was great because my tote bag was very full at this point. And they gave me a cute little alpaca sticker. And they gave me little stitch markers, which I had to take a picture of on the airplane because I desperately needed some stitch markers. And so yeah, they really came in handy. So that was extra awesome. I thought that was really a fun experience, and was able to talk to the people running the shop, and it was really, really cool. And then we went back to U2 yarn because my friend needed to get the fingering to go with her brush suri alpaca, and she picked out the most beautiful, I wish I'd gotten some. It was so beautiful, but fingering merino to go with her sweater. And I didn't take any pictures of her yarn, so I can't show you, but you just kind of take my word for it. It's the most beautiful teal blue, and I just kept it was in her bag the whole weekend, and I just kept looking at it. But yeah, U2 yarn, my god, their colors are so pretty. And yeah, at that point we were feeling pretty tired. We ended up calling it, a day at that point, and so we did take a few pictures and get some videos, and yeah, we ended up heading straight back to the Airbnb. I'd been dealing with a bit of a migraine the whole day, and so we ended up going back to the Airbnb, putting on pajamas, knitting and watching movies the rest of the night, and it was delightful. I had such a nice time. And then we spent the whole next day going around Seattle. We only did the one day at Flock. And again, turned in early that night, put on pajamas, watched movies, and worked on our knitting. It was seriously the best weekend. I had so much fun. But yeah, those are all the things I got at Flock. I absolutely want to go back. I thought that was an amazing experience. I want to go back, and I want to be a little braver and, just be a little bit more willing to walk up to people and introduce myself and talk to them. And I think I will be there next time I go. I think it was almost a little overwhelming, but in a very good way. And so yeah, that was so much fun, and I can't wait to go to more. I don't know if I'll be able to go every year, but I do know that if I can, swing it, it's something I would like to do whenever it comes up. But yeah, such a cool experience. I know, I'm just rambling now. I'm so sorry. One thing you'll notice I did not buy yarn for was the Poet. I looked high and low for yarn that was speaking to me for that pattern. And I kept coming back to yarns that were in like these like really beautiful olive green colors. And I just think that that top would be really stunning in an olive green. I think it would be so beautiful. And I got really close to buying some yarn from Farmer's Daughter Fibers. And also, I think there was another one that I was really, really considering, but I can't remember where it was from anymore. But when it came down to it, I was kind of at my budget and I was really excited about the yarns that I had. And so I've just put the Poet on a little bit of a back burner, and I will, I kind of have an idea of what yarns I'm going for now. So once I work through a few of these projects, it will probably be the next one that I go buy yarn for. But yeah, so I didn't do too bad. I did follow my goals for the most part. I did buy the citrine jumper was a pretty immediate deviation from the course, but I brought it back, and it's fine. And then the Tonight top was not one that I had planned to buy for at all, but I do think it'll be really, really beautiful top. So I'm excited to get working on these. I gotta find room for them in my yarn cubbies. So, but yeah, with that, I will talk a little bit. So the outfit I wore, if you watched my plans video, I was panic knitting a top to wear to flock because I started it less than 2 weeks before the event. And so I was knitting the Ilana camisole. I am blanking on the name of the designer right now, but I will put it up here. And I ended up getting it done. I cropped it. I actually knit the body almost twice as long as the pattern called for, and it is still well above my belly button. So it is a very crop top, but I do think it looks very cute with my high-waisted jeans. And like I said, I'll stand up and walk around so you can see my outfit a little bit in person. But I thought it came out quite nice. And I did wear it with my overshirt when I was at flock. I tend to run cold almost all the time. So having a layer was nice. And then it's also a slightly more revealing camisole than I would probably typically wear. So, having a layer was also nice because of that. Just covering up just a little bit. But I was really happy with how it came out. And it was just so much fun to see people there wearing their knits. And, a lot of people were. It was very cool. So overall, an amazing experience. I'm so glad I got to go with a friend. I can't wait to go back. Yeah, 10 out of 10. Would recommend. If you made it this far, thank you so much for listening to me ramble about yarn. It was great. It was great spending this time with you. And yeah, I can't wait. I will be back soon with a regular podcast update, probably in just a couple of days, because I don't want to wait a week. I have a lot to talk about. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in and you're not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. If you liked any part of this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps YouTube get it to other people who might enjoy this type of content, and it really helps the channel quite a bit. And yeah, that is what I have for you. And I will see you guys soon. I hope you have a great evening, a great day. Hope you're getting some knitting in, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.